So we are back.
What?
So we are back to the same group. I mean, to the central room now, so that we can continue the meeting. All right. So, so let's listen to Austin from Birmingham University, UK. Austin, your audio is not on. Augustine, sorry.
Hi, everyone.
Okay.
My name is Augustine Farinola, and the title of the presentation to be given is Digital Humanities and Computer-Assisted Textual Analysis. And actually, I am in the area of textual analysis, and my current PhD work is actually working on textual analysis. And some of the data and some of the ways in which I share some of what I do is also through some online platform like afrothinkitry.com, and also a digital humanity project, which is Paint Me Black, in which I've been able to get data and analyze them in this form as visual. And presently, for like minds of digital humanity who are textual scholars, we actually have a creative techies forum where we all meet to learn programming languages in order to do some textual analysis. Let's go to textual analysis itself. The question that we first of all ask ourselves is, what is the data that we use in the humanities or in the digital humanities or the objects of our research? And if we accept that text is the data and that is the object of our research, then we'll come to realize that, as many scholars have actually argued, that whatever you are making your research on, whatever you obtain as your data is actually digital. Let it be text, let it be image, let it be sound, and whichever discipline you find yourself, if you don't start seeing whatever you are using for your research finding as data, it's going to be problematic. But if you see them as data, you ask yourself, what is the method, or what are the methods that I use to analyze this? And for the sake of this presentation, we notice that we are taking text as data. And if we talk about text as data, you ask yourself, where do I get text from? Maybe from the books that you read, by scrubbing from the internet, by collating whatever you obtain from questionnaires from people. And your job as a digital humanist, a digital humanist or a humanist will be to find a way to collate them together and ask yourself, what are the methods which method, or what are the methods I'm going to deploy in responding to them? On the slide, I have some kind of points highlighted from the work of some scholars based on their arguments on, should we accept text as data in the humanities, or how do we accept text as data in the humanities? And we have that. Why some scholars are saying, forget about it. Whatever you are doing, it's all about data, and humanists will focus more on text. And you ask yourself, what are the methods that I use to retrieve, to store, and to analyze those data? And that's one of the things that we take a look at. Presently, as someone has highlighted, where people have data that people analyze or scholars analyze presently are called corpus. Corpus would be like what Professor Kwebi has done on the corpus of political discourses. Corpus would be when you assemble things, or where we can say literature or text from that discuss a particular kind of a thing, and then you make it available online through, so we have a lot of corpus. We have British corpora, we have many other forms. So the research you want to do will affect the kind of corpus you want to look for. And a lot of, like for instance, someone asked in a previous session, where is the corpus for philosophy? There are a lot of corpus online, though the question may be, as a professor, the professor from Cameroon has actually highlighted, that do we have African corpus? And that's what Professor Kwebi said they're currently working on. We also have what we call repositories. And that's where data that people have used or data that people have collected, they make it available. An example is that of Harvard Dataverse, which you can visit and actually get data for your own research in order to obtain information about a particular subject matter you want to investigate. We also have the re3data.org, where you can also check and look at what are the data do we have here, and can I get the one for a particular research. And then, so once you have data that there are still other ways in which you can get data. Some people want to be like involved in analyzing discourse in the social media, or you want to get evidence for your argument by relying on discourse in the social media. Twitter has been a very good tool, and based on its API or the way it's structured, it allows people to easily mine. And without knowing how to code at all, you can use softwares like our app that are available online, like Tutonomy, which you will get the slides, this PowerPoint, which you can use Tutonomy to actually see what's going on, what are they saying in Nigeria concerning Corona, what are they talking about generally, what are they talking about in other places, what's the dominant, and check the trends and be able to access the data. We also have the know, we also have the audience, so you can use these ones or track my hashtag. You can use that one if you feel that you want to rely on obtaining data from social media. EcoSec is also available. But the method that scholars have actually encouraged, and which most scholars in developed nations as well as developing nations are using, is scribing. It's doing it themselves, trying to get it done, trying to go online, code, instruct the computer, tell the computer what to get for you. It could be you want to scrap an entire website. It could be you want to get these courses on colonial matters that are available online. So with simple codes, you can actually get those things done. And there are a lot of tutorials online too that you can actually obtain. So that's on obtaining your data. Now, when you have your data, the question you ask yourself is, how do I analyze the data? Now, there's a chart here. That I've actually obtained from the work of Laura K. Nelson, and she actually gave this chart in one of our presentations, which I actually quite. And the chart asks the fundamental question: when you have your data, now you want to embark on a research, and you have the digitized version of the data, what do you want to do with it? Now, these are question and answer, if and then. Now, you see from the chart, like if you start with, do I have a digitized text? And if your answer is no, then you can't do any form of text analysis. Just forget about it, because you have to have it digitized. Then if it's yes, then the question is, am I interested in the content of the text? Now, if the answer is still yes, then am I looking for specific categories or themes? Now, if the answer to that one is yes, you say ask yourself, if I'm interested in categories or themes, are the categories mutually exclusive? And if the answer to that one is yes, then you embark on the methodology they call classification. It's a form or is a method under textual analysis in digital humanities. Now, if you look at the other steps, you realize that sometimes if you say no within the progression, like let's say for instance, you have the digitized text, and you are interested in that, you can look at whether you're doing clustering, you want to do topic modeling, or you want to do dictionary method. So when you are now presenting the research, you'll be able to say, this is the method that you are deploying. And when you know the method you want to deploy for your research, you'll be able to ask, which tool am I going to use? And how do I embark on this? How do I get this done? Let's move to the next slide.
Sure.
The automated form of text analysis, like I collected some of the researches that people have been doing along that category. You realize that the dominant methodology that they use can be classification, dictionary method, difference of proposition. Maybe they are looking at writings in a particular century with the writing in a particular century, or you can take test frequency, and we have clustering and topic modeling. Now, you will ask, what are all this all about? We actually address some of them. I want us to take note of this. If we as scholars, as digital humanists who actually want to, we have text, we have newspapers, we have even written text that we can scan and turn to a digital form. Then when we want to bring out our research out as a research in textual analysis, foreign scholars have already, in textual analysis, have identified certain things which we take note that will make the work to be accepted. The first is the standardized, we have to standardize it. And what we mean, that's with regards to the text. So the text we want to use, if you're going to use Voyant 2, you want to use Antcong, you want to use many other tools, the text that you will use should be the same across all of them. If you want, so that you'll be able to confirm. If I pour maybe the work of Wole Soyinka or into, let's say, Voyant, the same work I can pour it into Anchor, the same work I can pour it into, or I can even interrogate with them directly with code. But you should make sure that, because they will ask you at the end of the day, if they want to review your research, that can you show us your data? And then it should be open. And when we talk about varied, it should be selected in such a way that you won't say, okay, we want to look at the use of certain words in a particular century, and you select just within a range of people. Maybe you want to do a survey in Nigeria, a digital humanities survey, or what happened in the Civil War. You have to ensure that you pick from all the sides and various tribe or ethnic group in such a way that whatever you come up with can actually be objective. Now, when we come to the analysis, you should be able to identify that this is the tool I want to use. And when you use the tool, you make it possible that it's replicable, that people can be able to now pour whatever or test run whatever finding you have come up with and be able to say, we have done it on our side. It's objective, is a little bit. We can also, and you say, okay, there's racism in American soccer, and you look at the way in which newspapers you have collected some newspapers that are talking about American players, and you want to look at the way they use certain words attached to blacks and the way they attach it to whites. You'll be able to, when you have that done, you'll be able to ask yourself various questions. Do I provide the data in a varied way, in a replicable, in a standardized way, that other people will accept the finding that I come up with, as Rockwell did in the book Hermeneutical? They were able to defend that, there are racist words that are used towards American black or African American players. Now let's go into what we call CATA, which is computer assisted textual analysis. As I explained earlier on, you can do textual analysis even without using computer. Like some people want to sit down and count the number of times Chinua Achebe mentioned Okoko in Things Fall Apart. So they can sit down with it and be counting, but computer can do that. Or if you want to look at how Quine used certain word, or how Edgar used the Zen, or you want to look at in history, you want to look at the understanding of certain concepts. So you can do that by counting manually, but that will take a long period of time. And what we now talk about is computer-assisted textual analysis. Computer can help us. And how will computer help us? We should have it at the back of our mind that it's not the same thing as we are entrusting it to the hand of computer. It can give us formalized, or it can formalize our research in forms of visual representation. It can give us in form of quantitative way that you can say, it's able to count this out. And as T.E. Clement explained, that with most of those computer-assisted textual analysis technologies that we have, they help us to extract, count, stem, pass, disambiguate, collocate, contextualize. And when you start experimenting with some of them, like most of the scholars on the platform, most of them have listed some of those tools in the chat room. When you start experimenting with them, you come to realize, oh, this thing are actually giving me what I want. So I'll move very fast, and I'll move very fast now and jump some things in order to meet up with the time. Text analysis is for all disciplines in the humanities, because everything we do, whether we are comparing and contrasting, whether we are explaining, whether we are whatever we are doing with any text in our hand, it's actually to arrive at meaning and interpretation. And that is essential to the disciplines in the humanities. And computers are available to do those stuff. Now, what are some of those tools that can be used? Most of the tools that I imagine under digital humanity often have what we call theoretical framework. Like the Stanford lab, which is the lab of some humanities scholars who are actually developing tools or doing some things to be able to show how we analyze text. They try to give a kind of a philosophical or epistemological idea underpinning their tool. And then we have two dominant views. We have that's being held by macro analysis by Marty Joker, and then the popular distant reading by Franco Moretti. Now, distant reading, we can say distant when you are analyzing text using technology. Franco Moretti says what you are doing is you are reading to, but it's not the same thing as close reading that people have been doing without using technology. And the technologies that form under the heading of distant reading, as we know, Voyant is one of them. Voyant, you don't need to code. The Voyant tool is something, as Dr. James Yeacoul has also mentioned earlier on, that it has documentation. When you go online, you check Voyant, you see the documentation, you'll be able to practice, and it's so simple. Assemble the text that you have gathered that you want to analyze and put that into it. Another essential part is Tapol Porter, which I will explain today, Methodica, as well as the use of Python or R programming language for textual analysis. So this Voyant, you get Voyant, you pour whatever text you want to have inside it, it gives you this interface, and then you understand some of the interface, the function that this interface actually performs. It's like giving you multiple windows at the same time, but it will help you to actually generate the word cloud function, as well as keyword in context. You'll be able to see in which way inside this text as the author used the word man, like I just did for Stuma Theology, the work of Thomas Aquinas, the philosophical work, and I try to look at how did he use man and in which context, and then you type that. You can try that with any of the word. It also gives you visualization, as we have said, that what computers actually do for digital humanities is also, it gives them some kind of formalization, the kind of things that actually project to the listeners or the people who are assessing their research that is objective, or it has arrived through certain quantitative measure. We also have tables too being generated just with the use of that tool. And for me, I see the tool as a conglomeration of existing digital humanity tools that are available for people who don't even, any scholar who don't know anything about programming, and whatever you come up with, it will just be perfect as a work of digital humanity. Now, the other aspect I'm going to introduce Tapo Collection. Tapo Collection is a portal by Gregory Rockwell and Sinclair with other scholars. They assemble over 1,500 tools that are available for textual analysis. And when you open the tapo.ca, when you open it in your browser, the first window you see is this. And then you'll be able to see, what do I want to do? You know, we talk about the methodology you want to deploy when you have your text. Is it capturing? Is it collocation? Is it content analysis? Is it dissemination? You'll be able to ask yourself, what do I want to do? And when you click on that, it will show you available tools that you can actually use. And we also have Methodica. Methodica was also developed by a philosopher, Gregory Rockwell, with Sinclair too, and it's open that if you want to contribute. Methodica is not a place where we have all the tools, but we have the recipe, as if you want to prepare a soup. So when you want to do a particular research.
You have 2 minutes. You
okay.
have 2 minutes, please.
Thank you so much. So when you want to do a research in textual analysis, when you go to methodica.ca, when you say, for instance, you want to do machine compare text or do accurate analysis of sentiment, to tell you the ingredients, that these are the things, and to show you step by step how you will do that. So I have in the slides tokenization using LTK. So you have the recipe like guidance and what you need to learn to be able to deploy this methodology. I also include in the slides links to where we can do that. Now, finally, I will introduce Python, and we have an ongoing, there are a lot of materials too online about the use of Python but if the tool cannot give you what you want, as many people have argued, most of these tools don't even understand Yoruba, Igbo, or Hausa, or understand most of the African language. You can also talk to the material yourself using Python programming language, or R programming language, who can help you to generate this sort of visualization too, as some of those tools also. And the beauty of Python, why I personally use Python, is you don't need to write a lot of things. With 2 lines of code, you can generate a lot of things because it contains what we can say libraries or modules, codes that people have written for you that you can just invoke and it will get it done. One of them is Mallet, the other is natural language, LTK, and then we have the beautiful soup and text blob. And at this point, we may not be able to do justice within the time limit to how we engage or analyze this, but there are lots of materials online and you can always reach out. So we ask yourself, if you are not interested in most of all these things, don't feel left out. Digital Humanities is not just about building things, according to Stephen Ramsey, but also includes those who theorize about the building, those who design so that others might build, those who supervise the building. So you can even call programmer, you can do collaborative work. You can say, you want to work on this, you know programming, let's work on this. You are a historian, I'm an archaeologist, you are a linguist, let's work on this together. So at this point, I say thank you very much for listening.